This is 007 Legends. We're here on Xbox 360. Be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well. So what are we getting here? 720p, 60 FPS. I mean, it certainly wants to be 60 FPS. Occasionally you get that, but yeah, it drops like crazy. Like it really, really drops like crazy. So performance-wise, not like perfect, but I mean it. Anyways, yeah, it's quite jagged around the edges. Visually, it's like so-so, and yeah, this is not a very good Bond game. I'll be honest with you. I think it's just honestly rather terrible. Like it was just not very good to play. I sat there, I did like a whole stream of it and everything like that. And it's just, it's not very good, is the biggest thing. It's weird, because it's like, a Bond game. I actually got an achievement there? Right on. Like, a Bond game shouldn't be that hard to do. But this one just has, like, such a combination of annoying mechanics and, like, it's just bizarre. So this was, like, for the 50th anniversary of Bond. It was sort of a greatest hits that kind of made every single other Bond Daniel Craig. I'm assuming Activision paid a lot of money to have, like, Daniel Craig's likeness available for some Bond games, and, because they did GoldenEye, right? And they shoved him into GoldenEye, which is not his Bond's thing. And then this one, they're basically, what happens is Skyfall is going on, and then, the Moneypenny there shoots Bond, and he falls into the water. And then, I guess, it's supposed to, and this is no longer canon, I guess, after Spectre came out, or so I was reading about it. Yeah, apparently he just, like, this is what happened between the events of Quantum of Solace and Skyfall, was him going and being, like, it starts off with Goldfinger, then it's like on Her Majesty's Secret Service, and then there's Die Another Day, there's License to Kill. It's really weird. And then there was like a Skyfall sort of expansion thing. I never got to check that out. It doesn't seem to really be available anymore, so I think that one's just kind of lost, as to say. But it's really just it's weird. Oh, and there's Moonraker too. There's Moonraker, which, like, by the time I got to Moonraker, I was just so tired of the game. Where I was just like, oh, space, lasers, whatever. And it's like, it's so weird, this one. So it keeps the traits of, like, optional extra objectives, but it doesn't, like, really tell you what you're doing, or what your goals are, or where they might be, or how you might access them, or what they are. You can kind of play this game, and, if you didn't look at the achievements, you wouldn't even know that there was, like, these optional side objectives. So it's really weird that they exist in this. They don't really make a whole lot of logical sense to me. But anyways, we're just, we're experiencing things as they are. So it's just bizarre, because it's like, okay, it's clearly Daniel Craig put into all these iconic, Bond movies, and they're just kind of acting like this was all his Bond, and I don't know. It's weird. It's a neat idea to celebrate, like, the legacy of the series, but it just really wasn't, it's just not very good. It's like a very codified Bond, which, it's Activision, so, like, I get it. But, like, they shove the phone in everywhere. And it's like, it was really fun about Bond? How much he played on his cell phone, hacking and doing stupid little side puzzles and scanning and taking photos and stuff. That's what I want out of my James Bond, is doing constant, repetitive, tedious puzzles on my phone. Over and over and over and over and over and over, and then another time, it completely destroys the flow of the game. I don't feel like a secret agent. I just feel like something where it's like, let's pad some game time by having him do like a stupid phone mini game. I hated the phone in this. Like, in GoldenEye Reloaded, it's like, you know, the phone, you use it a few times, whatever. In this, it's constant. Oh, constantly you're using this stupid phone. Anyways, and then it's like, the whole thing itself is just utterly repetitive and linear in design. Shoot, 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 and then, like, you go and there's, like, a guard or a boss, and you have to, like, do a really silly, like, NHL, the video game fighting sequence where you click the sticks up and down in, like, combination, and it's just... It's honestly atrocious. Like, it's just... It's so badly done. And there's so much about this game is badly done. Because I was like, oh, you know, it's kind of cool. You know, the first film I watched from Bond when I was a kid in theaters was Die Another Day. You know. And seriously, like, I watched other Bonds before that, you know, outside of the theater. But the first one I actually went to the theater to watch when I was young was Die Another Day. Because, you know, right age, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like... I was like, okay, so we finally get, like... You know, a Bond game that includes Die Another Day. I'm like, for me, that's kind of cool, but it's just, it's so bad. And they do car sequences, but they don't even show the coolness of that car. You know, it sounds so stupid, and a lot of, like, honestly, you know, like, I'm not saying, like, Die Another Day is some kind of gem of the Bond library, but, like... You know, you got a cool car. At least do something cool with the car. And they have this driving sequence. And I don't know if you've done, like, Call of Duty driving sequences, but they're usually just atrocious. And this is, like, at next level. Like, the driving parts of this game are just absolutely horribly done. Oh, man, I just... Wow, they are so bad in so many ways. It's just... Oh, jeez. So it's like, the performance, a lot of the time, is terrible. And, like, a lot of the time, you don't really know what your goals are. You sit there, you're kind of like, what am I doing? And it's like, it's linear, so it shouldn't be hard to figure out, you know, what your goals are when you're doing this. And it's just like, I was sitting there being like, what does this game want me to do exactly? I was like, what is going on? What is happening? And it's so weird. Oh, and they do these ridiculously weird cinematic angles. Like, sometimes Bond just, like, phantomly flies across the screen. But I'm just like, you know, honestly, some of the stuff in this game is just so perplexing. Alright, so otherwise, there's challenge mode. So, you know, obviously a Call of Duty thing that was, like, at the time big was they would have, like, you know, 3-star little challenge modes. So they slice out bits of the game and they challenge you to do different stuff in order to get, like, 3 stars. And, you know, it's like Spec Ops, basically, if you've, you know, played Call of Duty. It's Spec Ops mode. So that's present here. There was a multiplayer available back in the day. You know, it's not available anymore. I don't remember it, but I do have achievements that say I played it. So, yeah, I don't know what I could tell you about... Oh my god, and the loading takes forever in this game, too. Forever. So, and the checkpoints are bad as well. Oh, there's another part of this that just sucks. This loading screen. I hate this loading screen. So anyways, yeah, it's just like... I can't remember the multiplayer. I have no idea what the multiplayer was like. You can't even access the multiplayer area in order to, like, look at, like, you know, like a local thing and just, like, take a look at what the maps were or anything like that. It's basically just gone. So, wow. That guy took a lot of shots. That's another thing this game is so weird about, is, like, the inconsistency of, like, damage. Some of these guys, they'll drop in, like, one shot, and some guys, you sit there and you, like, fire a whole magazine into them, and they just kind of stand there and look at you like, you know, is that a gun you were using? It's so weird and random. I really, really don't understand it. And it's just, like, it's so bizarre. There's so many things where I'm kind of like, what is going on in this game? It's just straight up bizarre. I do wish we could still experience the multiplayer, though. I think that is a bit of a shame that it's not even, like, local stuff, not even... It's just lost, right? And that's, to me, that's always disappointing, but that is the state of multiplayer stuff, right? It does not last forever. You gotta enjoy it while it's available, basically. That's how I see multiplayer things for video games, definitely in the modern era as well. That's what it's, those weird camera angles are just like jumps ahead all strangely. So yeah, it's not a great Bond game. I really like. I didn't necessarily believe there's like bad Bond games, but this is a bad Bond game. It's strange too because you're literally able to sit there and you have 50 years of James Bond films. I'm thinking with Skyfall there was like 20 plus Bond movies available at the time, and you're trying to pick one from each of the different actors. And I know, a couple of the actors, they had like, a few films. There wasn't a whole lot to choose from, but like still, there's like you have this huge library of iconic villains, moments, scenes, locations, action setups to choose from. Like literally, like it would feel almost like if I was sitting there and they're like, okay, we want you to do like a 50th anniversary Bond video game. It says we don't have like the craziest budget in the world, we don't have the craziest options, but you could basically pick and choose whatever you want. What are you gonna go for? And it's like I might actually pick some of the locations they picked, but like the execution on that, like doing, was it License to Kill, is just like this really weird, awkward factory thing, and it's just like a lot of it isn't fun, and a lot of it is nonsensical, and a lot of this is like, this is what you chose for the rich history of James Bond, an iconic spy, and it's like most of your scenes are like taking photos and scamming things, and like, if you want to go for a Bond game where he's an actual spy, do a Bond game where he's an actual spy. If this is like a shooting game where a lot of it is a shooting gallery, it's like, make it an action-packed adventure. It's cut all these weird moments where it's just sort of like, why is it like this? Like we've got a scene here where they're like maybe doing some character development here, but like we're just standing awkwardly in an elevator while she does some like light exposition, but it doesn't matter because this whole scene of gameplay is like what, under an hour or something like that. So it's not like you care about the characters or really know them or anything or get involved with them. Like she's like a quick like 1-off 2-second thing, and it just doesn't make any sense. Now I'm assuming like GoldenEye was probably off the table because they did GoldenEye Reloaded, because I was just like, Die Another Day is like, I mean, it's an interesting choice. This is what I was talking about. I hate this gameplay mechanic. Every single boss in this game has this battle. All of them. You have like Odd Job. You've got like you've got all these like great characters and enemies. And it basically comes down to a fight where you're fighting a security guard, and you're just like, you just do a couple punches, and it's like that's the whole thing of it. And also this stuff here, they kind of set up where it's like, oh, you're going to be doing all this cool spy stuff, but you use this ability like one time in like the whole game, and it's just like so much of this is just like comically stupid. I sit here and I'm just like, what is the point of all of this stuff? Like, I really just kind of like this is a one-off scene. You don't really, you don't do this ever again. I have been spotted. Oh, and I hate how slow it is, and it takes forever because then you gotta like reload it, and you gotta wait for the loading screen. Oh, it's painful playing this game. It's so bad. Like, even, like, literally by the time you get to Moonraker and you've got, like, laser guns and you're, like, in space, I was just kind of, please be over. You know what I mean? I was sitting there, I was like, this needs to end my Bond suffering. Because, like, Bond games are fun. And even the ones where, I mean, they might not necessarily be golden. They're usually, like, fun games to play. They're weird. They're quirky, they're strange, you shoot things. You get to feel, you know, like you're James Bond going about doing stuff as Bond. But this one, it's like, hey, you want to sit there and play on your phone? And it's just, drives me crazy. And then there's like upgrades you can buy with XP that you earn, so you get like a dart thing and stuff like that. I don't know. It's weird. There we go, gun fully upgraded. Is that an achievement? Probably not. Oh, it is. Okay, that's nice. Kind of figured it would be, right? Yeah, and then you can like choose attachments for your guns, but whatever. Oh, then you gotta sit here and use your phone to figure out the fingerprints and stuff and what people click on it. Like I said, this whole thing is just, it's not good. It's a very, very bad Bond game. You don't really feel like an agent. You don't really feel like Bond. It's absolutely exhausting to play. Is the biggest thing. I'd say the big word is like tedious. Certainly tedious. Okay. And you gotta do the fingerprint thing again. Really, that wasn't it? Or is it 0, 2, 3, 1? Really? Let me take a look at this. It's usually like the... Yeah, it looks like it should be 0, that one, and that one. Maybe it's like 3 first. Ah, jeez. But like seriously, this is like a lot of the game is just kind of doing these. Was it 2-1 or was it 1-2? Might be 3. Really? That's usually it's like the lightest one is the end one. I don't know. I really dislike this game. It seems like a big waste of like truly good, you know, material and stuff. Like how do you mess up on a game like this that should be so insanely easy to hit the mark on? You know what I mean? Like it should be like a knockout of the park. This can't be right. It's gotta be like, I'm sorry. I'm finding this strange because usually it's like the brightest one is like typically the last one you click, so it should be 0 and then top, right? Like, oh, and there's some puzzle games in this where you're just like, what exactly do you want out of me, video game? Yeah, that was, I thought whatever, it doesn't matter. Was that not even necessary? I think there's supposed to be like a flash drive we get or something like that. Something or other. I don't know. This whole thing is just like disastrously uninteresting, like doing this kind of stuff. Goldfinger. I don't know, like it feels like a project that was sort of like kind of rushed, if that makes sense. Like it feels like something where, you know, the potential was there and then the execution just wasn't. Am I not supposed to get something out of this? Sorry, this is really weird. Am I supposed to like click this button thing? Oh, maybe I'm supposed to go get this button thing over here. Usually there's like a hack thing too where you gotta click something. Oh, there we go. Maybe what we did was an extra. Oh no. Oh, and there's also classic and modern health options, and yeah, I don't know. It was a bad Bond game, is what I'm trying to get at. It's not very good. I didn't enjoy playing it, and I just wanted it to end. It's very awkward and weird, so pretty forgettable.